Hello, the game has started. It's me to go first. I have both blanks, and there should be a bingo here, but it can be difficult to spot. And with both H's, it's going to be low probability. And there are no obvious prefixes or suffixes to consider, and I don't want to spend too long on this. If I can't see a bingo, then I will probably play HOH. However, I think there could well be one here. So what I'm going to do is simply cycle through one of the blanks and see if anything comes to mind. So I've got this claw prefix, CHLOR. So nothing seen so far. I guess one of the blanks is likely to be a vowel. Can't see anything there. So what about the blank as an I? I would have the ish ending. Can't see anything. Well, let me just reconsider the O, since the vowels are significant. Can't see anything there. I've got the holo prefix. Okay, the last vowel. So I've got hilo as a prefix. Okay, so I can't see anything. I'm going to play HOH. Okay, I surely do have a playable bingo with this rack. At the moment, the highest scoring lanes are in column 8, beginning and ending with O, but that's likely to be blocked. Yep. So I've now got a double lane in column 11. So can I find a double through the U? I think so. The Carulean springs to mind, and I think I will play this. Carulean for 82. And that's a pretty good pickup. There could well be a bingo here, likely to be through a consonant, but there's H, C and N on the board. I have pianiste through the N. Can't see anything with the H. Zonule takes an S and a T. I don't think there's a 7 with this rack. Nope, not that I'm seeing. So what about the C? Can't see anything with that. So I'm hoping the N isn't blocked. I'm just wondering if pianiste has an anagram. It may do. Patinise, I think. Yep, and that would be better. Pianiste does stick an E in the middle of column 15, which patinise doesn't. Through an R, I would have parities. That doesn't work with the R of Carulean. I'm just wondering if it's worth considering the vowels, but I don't think so. Well, it's just E and A. Great. So, patinise not blocked. I've got a new floater in the Y. Can't see anything with that. Patin eyes for 60. And the bingo run ends. And not a great rack. Only one vowel and it's duplicated, and V and B don't go well together. Vibe needs an E to be valid. Now there is the E of Cooey, and Zoniul takes a T. That's so close to brevet, I would need an E for that. The E of Patin eyes looks pretty handy. I'm not sure about the bill. I don't think that's good. But it remains available. And what about Beville? I don't think this is good. It's not. Now, what about column 8 through the A of Patin eyes? Can't see anything which sticks the B or the V on the double letter square, which is a little bit annoying. I could well be missing something here. The Zoniul hook has been taken out. Just looking to see if I've got anything which goes after ZO, and I don't. Now, what about this I, first I of Patin eyes, for putting my B there? 15 minutes on my clock. I'm just surprised I can't see a V and B play through one of these vowels. Onto an A, I would have bivia. I'm just looking for fives, beginning with the A. Can't see anything. I'm just looking for anything with a B or a V above the E of Patin eyes, which gets doubled. Not seeing anything. Okay. So I'm now looking at the top of the board, top right, around Cooey, to see if I've got anything through the O. I've got vril on my rack. I would have virile onto an E. Wow, this is a surprisingly tricky rack to deal with. Well, I guess I could play voile. Only 16 points. That seems pretty poor. However, I do want to play off one of the eyes. And voile gives nothing away. And I spent long enough on this. Quite nice. Close to a bingo. Well, I was thinking of banister, but that would need 2 tiles. I have Abrin in column 8. Patin eyes takes a D and an S after it. So it's quite a volatile play. Wow, and there are 3 really hot spots with Patin eyes above the A, the I, well, 3 or 4, and E, and also hooking Patin eyes, but none of them have been taken. None of them has been taken. 30 points for my opponent. So I've got a 60-point lead, which is good. The E of Carulian has been blocked for 8-letter plays. So this is what I was thinking of doing. 30 points, it's quite a good rack leave. So I'm going with it. Well, that looks close to a bingo. I have Tartane on my rack. That plays in row I, making HE. That remains available. Wow, 64 points for my opponent. That's pretty good. He's only 20 points behind now. Tartane will be hugely volatile, opening up column 1. So, is there anything better than that? Through an E, I would have Anteater. So, I actually do have Anteater down here, I think. 72 points. It diminishes the danger of a hook for pattern eyes. It's not opening up a 9 timer. So I'm going with this. Pretty good, not bingo-y, but I do have the X, which is a good scoring tile, and I've got vowels to go with it. But are there any good X spots on the board? Voile has killed the top right of the board. Prow doesn't offer much. Azo takes an N. I don't have it. I don't have one. I have Oxo and Op for about 30 points. That's pretty good. Racklever Fads. Not bad. Cerulean doesn't take an S. Still 2 S's to come. And both blanks have gone. And I have a 98-point lead. Oxo not great in that it's sticking a vowel above a double word square. And the reason vowels next to premium squares are dangerous is that a lot of high-scoring tiles can go next to the vowel. So, for example, a W could go underneath the O of Oxo, and that provides an easy way for an opponent to score 20 or 30 points. Not a disaster, but if you have a move which is similar score, similar rack leave, and doesn't provide a vowel next to a premium square, then it's probably going to be a better play. Tix is good, but I can't get that to play twice. I haven't really looked around the bottom right of the board because I'm expecting my opponent to go there. Now, through a G, I would have Dog Fox. Opponent taking a while on this move, but he still used 2 fewer minutes than I have, so I must have been faffing around at the start of the game a bit. However, I think I'm in reasonable shape time-wise. 2/3 of the tiles have been played. Now, opponent bingos, and my lead is no longer so big, just 19 points. Do I have anything in the bottom of the board? Wow, I have a good play. I thought the X was getting doubled, but it sorts the rack out. Oxford for 63, and the rack leave is great. So, Oxford. Now, what about putting the X underneath the A? So I could just play Ox, but then a rack leave retaining the F. Not as good. Oxford's a better play. It scores more, it burns the F, better rack leave, and it takes out a hot spot. Pretty good. I'm wondering if smaking is good. I think it is. It's not. However, not a bad rack. Still 23 tiles to come. Wow, look at that. Opponent scores 65 points for G. And he scored over 60 for Q, for the Q play. So those are bingo-y scores. And he's, wow, only 17 points behind. And the remaining tiles will have bingos in them. But look at the end of this row. 3 U's, a V and 2 W's. Hopefully some of those are on my opponent's rack because the rest of the tiles are pretty bingo-y. Which makes me inclined to take out the floaters, and I can do that with Smake. 51 points, and it turns over a lot of tiles, which I want to do to minimise the opportunities for my opponent to bingo. Great. Smake is good. Horrible pickup, but I have dodged all of these U's, V's and W's. And look at the remaining vowel situation. only 7 vowels, 3 of which are U's out of 20 tiles. Fantastic. So it's not such a bad thing to have them on my rack. I've now got a 40-point lead. Limited bingo lanes on this board, but there are still some, in particular the floaters in Abrin. Now, I'm wondering if I've got to play down from the B, which would interfere with those floaters. And I think baggies is good. Horrible rack lead, but in the context of a vowel dry bag, I think double I is good, especially as there are no I's to come, and 33 points is a good score. Pretty good. I draw vowels. Look at the remaining vowels. 1 E and 3 U's. Fantastic. And baggies has done a really good job in killing Abrin. I think it's just the R. No, not even the R. There are no 8-letter plays available in the bottom left of the board. They would all be 9s. And similarly through AN and IT. I guess column 1 ending in S is the hottest lane on the board. But my opponent would be pretty fortunate to have a playable bingo with these remaining tiles. However, I suspect there are still some bingos there, maybe smudges. Anyway, I've got a 70-point lead. So even with a bingo, I think I'm in with a chance. However, although I'm glad to see the vowel shortage in the bag, the vowel surfeit on my rack isn't ideal. I've got a scoring tile in the W. I'm not seeing any great W spots. I'm just wondering if I've got a 5-letter play in row E to interfere with column 1. I'm not sure that I do. And in any event, I'm not sure that column 1 needs blocking. I might be better placed in terms of, or it might be more optimal to simply keep on scoring. For example, a play of Kiwi in column 5 for 22 points. And it may be that I am better placed to bingo in column 1 than my opponent. The argument against that is that I don't need to bingo, whereas my opponent does. So I think there is an argument for playing in column 1. For example, a play of Willies. That would only be placing the W as a floater, not particularly useful in the context of the remaining tiles. I suspect there are no 8-letter bingos beginning with W using the remaining tiles, so Willies is a possibility. "11 minutes on my opponent's clock. The patternized hooks not used. So what else do I have apart from Kiwi? May takes an O, that isn't useful. I don't have any plays in column 2 parallel to baggies that use the W, and I'd like to use the W to score. There are scoring tiles left, and my opponent has shown a propensity to score well with non-bingo plays. So a lead of 75 points could shrink quite quickly with a couple of 30-point plays. I don't want to be faffing around with plays of around 10 points. I'd rather be pressing ahead. Okay, my opponent burns 1 U. He no longer has smudges because he's burnt the R. And I can't see anything else in column 1. 5 tiles left. Willies for 12. Keeping E, E, O. I think that is the play. Even though I can't see a bingo for my opponent in column 1, he may have one. It's the only way he can win. And this play leaves one in the bag, and Kiwi wasn't such a great score or a great rack leave. Wow, my opponent has got 7 consonants. Pretty grim. He certainly isn't bingoing with that rack. And I'm 60 or 70 points in the lead. He's not going to go out in 2 with this rack, so the challenge is, can I go out in 2? Well, I don't think so. But it would be nice to do so. Through an A, I would have U, U, E. No A's available. I've got a D for going on the end of patin eyes. Well, is there any possibility of going out in 2? I'm just looking in column 4 to see if I can score well. E and O can go above the V. Now I've got would you keeping triple E O, not great. I don't think I can go out in 2. I think this is going to be a pretty crappy end to the game. I'm just looking at the score for something like Ode. The problem with that is that it's retaining 2 U's, and it's burning the would you spot. I don't want to play would you, it provides vowels for my opponent. 7 minutes on my clock. Def is good. Duo and Udo are good. Now, is there really no I for you, oi? I don't think so. Well, although this looks a pretty grim and crappy end to the game is at least 1, or should be. I don't want to be complacent. Consonants can score well, and I haven't really got time to examine all of my opponent's options, although I can see that he's got, say, fans and buys. Six minutes on my clock. Just looking for a play parallel to Antigen, and at the moment I'm looking to see if I can score. Well, what about playing duo here? 14 points, not providing anything for my opponent, and I should be able to go out in 2 with this rack, I think. Yes, I certainly can. So I can play off UE and one go with Ewer, and then double E will go in a bunch of spots. Great, only 13 points for my opponent. He's not going out in 1 with that rack. So where can I play U, E? I can play Ute. Yeah. So I can play Ute. Anywhere better for U, E. Ewer scores 5. I can't see anywhere better. I'm going with this. And now double E can make Eve, we, and D. And I've also got we, so I certainly can go out with this. 5 minutes on my clock. I'm looking around for anywhere better for double E. I've got T, B and Re, 11 points. 16 points for Eve, and I don't think that's blockable. £17 points, good score for my opponent, but he trails by 40. So, double E. E for 16. And the final score, 413 to my opponent, 483 to me, a winning margin of 70 points, so a good win. Let's see what I missed. So, me to go fast, was there a bingo here? No, there wasn't. Fantastic. And all of these suggestions are rubbish, I think, because they're burning the blank. And I'm getting 18 points for Ho, so the second blank, I think, is worth more than 10 points. Opponent's rack, he plays Zoniul. And I have Carulean, but Cornell's scores more. Yep, 2 more points for Cornell's. I didn't really consider a play overlapping Ho, but 2 points is not a huge amount. Opponent plays Kiwi, and the only 2 bingos were through the N of Carulean. Opponent plays Yata, and this was a rack I agonised over. Now I saw Vril. I didn't see that it played in row I. That would have been pretty good for 26 points. Instead I played Vral for 16, so yeah, Vril in row I would have been better. Opponent's rack, he plays Prow, and I have a Bryn for 30. Great score for my opponent, 64 points. And I have Anteater for 72. I considered Tartane. There was also Reattain in row N, and Attainer in the same row. But I think Anteater best. Nice rack for my opponent. He bingos with Antigen. And now I have Oxford for 63. Opponent plays G for 65. So at this point, I'm only leading by 17 points. And I have Smake for 51, which is really good because it kills all the floaters. It does provide an S in column 1. But the score's great, and it gives me a bingo lead and takes out floaters. Horrible rack for my opponent, and I guess his rack just stays like that for the rest of the game. He plays Bye for 31. I have all the vowels, and I play Baggies, which is fine, so I've now got a 70-point lead. More horror for my opponent. He plays Eruv. And now I play Willies, and I think that's fine. Even if there isn't a bingo here, playing Willies means I don't have to satisfy myself of that. Opponent plays Wud, and now the game is won, and it's a matter of finding outs in 2 preferably, but I think looking at the suggestions here, none of these are likely to fit the bill. Deve K4. Okay, pretty nice, pretty good score, and I'm sure I could go out in 2 with the remaining tiles, so that might well be better than what I did. Duo for 14. Opponent plays Defi. E for 16. Well, I played that second. I played Ute first. Opponent plays Cans, and I go out with Eve. So, a very bitty end to the game, but that's the way it is sometimes. But those sorts of endings are fine if you've got the lead. It's much worse if you're trailing by 70 points and you're facing a 7 consonant rack like my opponent was in this game. So the game played out pretty well. I got off to a good start with a couple of early bingos, and certainly starting with both blanks was most welcome. And I ran out a victor by 70 points. So I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.